Thanks for tuning in. I've been out buying classical records again. I've sold a few records in the last week, made some good money on them, and I wanted to go out and spend that money on records because that's the way to build your collection, increase your stock if you're selling them, and that's probably what I enjoy doing most of all in respect of record collecting. Well, obviously, apart from listening to them. So, yeah, lovely day today. Let me show you what I bought. So I know that I've reviewed a huge collection on eBay last week, I think, and I said don't buy this collection. I mean, it was like 4,000 records for £900, and I said don't buy them because there's too much opera. And I've gone and bought a load of opera today. Somebody's pointed out to me, well, at 25 pence a disc, why don't you go and buy those 4,000 opera records because you're a big opera fan, right? Well, yeah, right, true. Well, A is I've got no room for them. B, I don't know, somehow it just doesn't appeal because I've seen big opera collections before, and generally from my own point of view there's very little there that I'm interested in listening to, and rather than pay 25 pence a piece across the board, I'll probably rather go through and pick out what I want at £1 each, which is what I've done today because this particular charity shop had a load of opera records and I was able to pick out exactly what I wanted, which actually was probably about 80% of them. So let me just go through and show you what I bought. Fortunately, they're all £1 each. Now I have to say that had they been like some charity shops and these been all £2 each, I probably would have bought a third of the number or even less, or I might not have bought any at all. So yeah, £1 each is the price to get people to come in and buy up these classical records. Not £2, not £3. If these charity shops are serious about selling these records, price them all at £1 and just let them go. Don't sit on them. But nope, a lot of them know better and they'd rather just sit on records forever. Okay, so let's just go through what I bought. So we've got Claudio Muzio here. And by the way, any of you who are into opera, if you know about any of these singers that I don't know about, because I don't know Muzio, obviously this is a historical recording and it goes back to 1934, 1935, so it's going to be transfers from 78, isn't it? Yeah. So it's on the Historical Archives label. It says EMI on it, so obviously EMI have had a hand in that, and yeah, so that's going to be, obviously when you buy these historical recordings you know what the sound is going to be like from 78, and in fact a lot of the time the actual voice, if you ignore that characteristic crackle that goes through a 78, the voice usually comes through really nicely. Okay, so this is a London Mireia. Okay, yeah, so here we are, Mireia Freni and Renato Scotto. This is on a London. I'm not really familiar with the Decca issue of this. So there we are, it's a narrow band London. Nothing wrong with that. Pressed in the UK, of course. So, I mean, that should be good. It's got some great music on it as well. It's got duets, Marriage of Figaro, and what else? Norma, so Bellini. So yeah, that should be a really good one. Two of the best sopranos of the sort of 70s and 80s period. That should be a great opera record. Okay, continuing now. This is Mascagni, and we've got, let's have a look, Cavalleria Rusticana, and then some of his other operas, which, you know, I'm not too familiar with, apart from the big one, Cavalleria Rusticana. I'm not really familiar with his opera. Yeah, it says here, Rarita Mascagnani. Okay, rarities of Mascagni. So, yeah, so what label is that on? I mean, this is all interesting stuff, or at least I find it interesting. A lot of you guys maybe don't, actually. Bon Giovanni is the label. I'm not too sure when these recordings are from. It says here 1905 to 1975, so they obviously do a lot of historical recordings. I'm just looking at the dates here to find out when these are from. A lot of these are from Cetra records by the looks of it. They even give the matrix numbers of the records. Yeah, that's quite a good issue actually. Very interesting. So actually these look to me like they're lifted from 78 because I can see here the date 1905. So okay, yeah, I shouldn't really linger too much on these records because this video will end up being too long. This is another unusual one. Never seen this before. 20 coloratura sopranos, 20 arias, and let's have a look. It's obviously Nellie Melba, Mary Galvani, Eliza, Tetracini, of course. Yeah, so some of the great singers from the era of 78s. And there's a label. Now I noticed there was a bit of a mark on this one, but I found it such an interesting record, particularly with that label, TAP, it says on it. Yeah, I wonder where this is made, this record. I mean, oddly enough, it actually looks like an American record. I don't know, there's just something about it that screams American to me. Yeah, not least that it's all English on the back, but it doesn't look to me like a UK pressing. It looks to me like an American record. So, yeah, okay. Microgroove Unbreakable, it says on it. Alright, I'll take your word for it. So, yeah, that's sort of interesting. These are £1 each, by the way, these records cost me. Yeah, well, you've probably seen this one before, a lot of you. Yeah, so that's a dog stamp pressing for £1. I thought it'd be okay to buy that. Oh, and the lyrics are inside as well as a bonus. Lovely picture there of Schwarzkopf. And yeah, got all the lyrics as well. Fabulous. Okay, keep going. Meyer Beer, Les Huguenots. I'm sure I pronounced that incorrectly. Right, I don't want to say too much about that, but obviously I haven't really got much of Meyer Beer's music. In fact, I haven't got any of it. This is the first one I've got. So it's got Caruso on here, Nivette, Homer. So I don't know, more historical opera. Now this one here, this is a bit better. It's final scene from Salome, and it's I don't know how you pronounce that. Juba Wellich. I'm presuming that L is a silent L. Juba Wellich. Final scene from Salome, plus arias of Mozart, Puccini, and what's the Mozart? Don Giovanni. Okay, that's the Donna Anna recitative and aria from. Okay, we've got Johann Strauss. All right, Max Rudolph conducting the orchestra of the Metropolitan Opera Association. So yeah, that one looks all right. Now, I've talked about mixed labels, so I saw this, the great Tosca performance by Maria Callas in her best voice, and you know, £1 a disc. The jackets are in absolutely superb condition, and I opened the first one and it was a red label. Yeah, there's a red label. I thought, that's all right, that's fine. It's in superb condition. I've got no issues with that at all, because, you know, I mean, the red label usually actually sounds better than the blue label, just because they tend to be in better condition than the blue labels. And I thought, that's fine, I don't mind a red set, but the second label is blue. Oh my God, can you believe that? And I'd rather have 2 red labels than a blue label and a red label. But anyway, that's what I've got. And I thought it'd be worth taking for that money, £2 anyway. So the blue label's in great condition as well. Now, Stignani, yeah, okay, I'm not going to try and pronounce that again. I'm sure that's wrong. Stignani, probably it is. Favourite selections from operas: Orfeo, Eurydice, Alceste, Barbara of Seville. If that's got on it Una voce poco fa, which it has, you know, probably the finest soprano aria that Rossini ever composed. I'll be looking forward to listening to that. Let's have a look and see. This is Chetra, made in England. I wonder when this is going to be from. What era? Is it lifted from 78s? I wonder. It looks like it probably is. Or is it from a tape? I wonder. Okay, well, it doesn't actually say. It doesn't say when it was recorded. Okay, that's fine. Okay, another London. Sutherland this time, singing Wagner. I'm not a Sutherland fan. I initially was, until I heard Maria Callas singing the big Verdi and Puccini roles, and then I just forgot about Sutherland completely, couldn't listen to her. She's singing Wagner there, and well, I'll probably sell this record. It will be of interest to somebody, I would think. So yeah, it's a narrow band. There we are. Another one for £1. The Hungarian soprano Sylvia Sass. Lovely picture of her, actually, that. And that, I think, is a Dutch pressing for £1. Dramatic arias. Yeah, it's a good one. Okay, and some more here. Suzanne Danko. And you often see this purple jacket for historical opera, this label, which is what? I forget what this label's called. I've had them before. Made in Austria. I don't know. How do you pronounce that? What's that label called? Somebody help me out, please. Yeah, okay, so I bought that. I didn't pay £1 for this. I got this from another shop as part of a one for £3 offer. Otherwise I probably wouldn't have bought it. Okay, this one was £1 though, from the same shop. Maria Chapotari, I think the pronunciation is, and this has got some Mozart on it, from The Marriage of Figaro. It's got the great Martin Arton aria. Yeah, so yeah, this one is going to be from 78, so I can tell, because it's talking about she was born in 1910. Yeah, so that's going to be from the 78. Hey, wait a minute, it says stereo on it here. That can't be right. There must be electronic stereo. Yeah, well, I don't know. I hope it's not fake stereo, but if it is, so be it. Yeah, it does say. Oh yeah, here we are. This recording has been reprocessed for stereo. Okay. It may also be played on mono equipment. Well, that's a shame, isn't it? Reprocessed stereo. But I did a video on Eclipse, Decca Eclipse, and I found that reprocessed stereos sound fine, actually. I mean, the stereo is useless, but unless you're going to position yourself between the speakers and try to pick out the instruments, it sounds fine. Okay, and here's another one for £1. Raina Kabaivanska, Verdi. And this is, there's a nice picture over there on the back. So we've got Macbeth, Il Trovatore and La Traviata. She's Bulgarian, I believe. And this is an RCA Red Seal record. So yep, pleased with all those. Okay, we're 10 minutes in. Let's keep going. So yeah, that was a good shop to go into, £1 each. Now I went into another shop, what was it? Salvation Army. Now some Salvation Armies are really good. You go in and they're all £1 each, no problem at all. Others think they're clever. I mean, this particular shop I went into, they had loads of records, quite a few classical records. They had a lot of pop records as well. To give you an idea of what they're charging, there was a copy of ABBA Greatest Hits Volume 2 and they wanted £10 for it. I mean, that's an idea that you're in a shop that really is all over the place with their pricings, but usually it's too much rather than too little. And they had quite a few opera box sets that they were selling for sort of £5 or £6 each, or even more. And of course I wasn't interested in any of those. And I went through about 300 or 400 records there. It was crazy. There were some I might have bought if they'd been cheaper, but I didn't. And then the very last record I looked at, and this is why it's worth go all the way to the end. Don't stop. I know it can get mind-numbingly dull when you go through 100 records and there's nothing there. but keep going, just keep going, persevere all the way to the end, because I persevered with this, and I turned this record up. When I first saw it, I don't know, I thought it was like I don't know, a DG privilege or something like that, and I wasn't really interested. And then I looked at it and I thought, wait a minute, that's Joseph Carlberth, who I really like as a conductor. And lo and behold, this is a Telefunken gatefold, and he is actually conducting Mozart's 4 greatest symphonies, the last 4 symphonies, which I think is a brilliant idea, to put the last 4 symphonies onto 2 records, because these are really the cream, the pinnacle of Mozart's symphonic output. There's no way that the Prague Symphony should not be included. We talk about the trilogy, the last 3 great symphonies. There's no way in the world that the Prague should not be should not rank alongside the other 3 symphonies, just because it was written like a year before he composed the other 3, and maybe because it's got 3 movements instead of 4. The first movement is probably the best symphonic movement he ever composed. That's my opinion. You might disagree if you're into Mozart, and he did compose some absolutely amazing symphonic movements. But yeah, so yeah, really pleased to see this. Now I believe these are taken from SMAs, in other words, the Telefunken, the ones that appear in the UK pressed by Decca, which are absolutely excellent. So I think that's what these are, probably recorded in the early 60s. And of course these are Blue Label 70s pressings, but I'm delighted to have that. It did cost me £5, which, you know, I can't really grumble how they've priced that. If they'd priced that at 10, I would have been biting my nails thinking, shall I, shan't I? I probably would have bought it anyway, even for 10, because I've never seen it before, and I'm delighted to have those performances. Okay, so that was that shop, which, you know, 400 records looked through. I finally got one. Okay, so what else have I got? So then I went into an Oxfam record, tape and CD shop. Okay, and I've been in there and I've done quite well in there many times, and I did okay this time. I'll show you what I bought in a minute. First of all though, I'd like to say to you a couple of gripes about that shop. Yeah, well, I mean, a Stewart video wouldn't be complete without a few gripes, would it? And I know there are those of you out there who I've muted because you say, "Oh, Stewart, all you do is complain. You're moaning. You know, you're just an old misery. You're just moaning all the time about nothing ever pleases you." Nothing could be further from the truth. Some of you people who've been muted now are very selective, and I mean, look at this video and look at other videos where I spread the joy of all these fantastic records that I find. So no, but I mean, not everything is perfect in the world, and in record shops, I've said I don't like music being played in record shops, yeah? And for some strange reason, this particular Oxfam, they've got 2 speakers, each one about this size, sitting up. There's one here and there's one at the other side of the shop. And this speaker is sitting right above the classical selection. You've got the records sitting there, and then above them you've got the CDs, which I find annoying. I find annoying because if somebody wants to look at CDs while you're looking at records, then the 2 of you are in the same space. And that happened today, and it was actually quite awkward. I felt like going out of the shop and coming back once this guy had gone. But finally, you know, he'd finished doing what he was doing and I was still there. But yeah, they've got this speaker there. And this is what I had to tolerate. I've got it on my mobile phone. I'll just play some of it. Do you get the point? That was blazing away on very high volume level. And the guy behind the counter, who actually was quite helpful, I'll tell you about it. I mean, he was like, ooh, you know, and all this. I mean, what the hell is that? What kind of music is that? Well, first of all, I thought that was CD. No, I was wrong. It was a record. So yeah, records can sound awful. I mean, it just sounded so sort of distorted and horrible. Yeah, records can sound terrible. and that sounded absolutely awful, and so did all the other pop records he sound. I mean, the sound quality was absolutely abysmal. And yeah, I mean, why? Okay, I don't like music being played in shops, but it was blazing away. I was having trouble concentrating. I had this guy with the CDs, and you know, it was not a good retail experience for me. And yeah, but I was glad I got the records, and it was a bit of a battle, and it was really difficult picking out records and checking condition while that rubbish was blazing away like that. But yeah, absolutely terrible sound quality. So okay, so let me just go through what I bought from there, because at least something good came of it. So here we are. We've got Schubert's Arpeggione Sonata and Beethoven's Sonata with Tortelier and then an accompanist. So that is a digital record, and it's his master's voice, or EMI French. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. La voix de son maître, his master's voice. Okay, yeah, so I was pleased with that one, and I was also pleased with this. Don't get excited, it's not the SXL. It's not the SXL. No, it's not. So, but you know, I'd rather have this for, what did I pay for it? $1.99. I'd rather have that for $1.99 than not have it, because that is fantastic performance. I know the SXL is probably worth about £500 or £600. Actually, to be honest with you, this would fetch about 30 or 40 quid anyway, because with violin and piano, I mean, the sound difference, I mean, it's not going to be a big problem. If it's orchestral, stereo is really important, and chamber and solo is important as well, but there's not such a big impact, and I think I'm really pleased with that for $1.99. I apologise for the road noise. There's absolutely nothing I can do about it, and I'm on a route that is near to the fire station and the police station, so I've got blazing fire engines, not blazing fire engines, I've got sirens going past me maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 times a day, unfortunately. Okay, so this is more of what I bought. Yeah, so I only bought those two from the full price section, and then they've got 3 for £1. So I'll just go through what I bought 3 for £1. So I've got highlights to a couple of Donizetti opera, La Lisa d'Amour. That's with Sutherland. I've checked the condition on all these, by the way, they're okay. And I've got Schneiderhan playing Bach, Beethoven and Mozart. So, you know, what can I say? That's actually, yeah, Mozart Violin Concerto number 5. I mean, this is not an original, of course. This is taken from early Tulip labels. But, yeah, I'm pleased with that. 3 for £1, by the way. Beethoven Quartetto Italiano. Now, I'm really pleased with this. Some of you out there like CRD, and this has got some like Elizabethan type music on it, but this CRD is better. Haydn, we've got a couple of Haydn symphonies, Ronald Thomas conducting the Bournemouth Sinfonietta. So again, 3 for £1, I don't know. We got Ingrid Heibler playing Schubert, and then we've got this harpsichord music. I know a lot of you out there don't like harpsichord music. Most of the time I don't like it myself, but this is a composer I've never heard of before, Antoine Forqueray, 1672 to 1745, so it's going to be Baroque. And I don't know, I just thought it'd be interesting for that amount of money. And then finally, once I picked out what I wanted in classical, I suddenly saw something that caught my eye in pop. Blondie. You know I'm a Blondie fan. I'm Always Touched by Your Presence, Dear. That is a single from the Plastic Letters album. And then it's got Detroit 442, and it's got a piece on it called Poet's Problem, which I've never even heard. So if we flip it over, we can see this came out in an era at a time when Blondie only had 2 albums out, Blondie the album and Plastic Letters There's an absolutely fabulous picture at the top there of Blondie holding all the letters. The band. Oh, of course, Clem Burke died recently, so R.I.P. for him. Absolutely phenomenal drummer. Sad that he died at 70 years old. I mean, he helped to define the Blondie sound with his absolutely amazing, energetic drumming. If you've seen him drumming, you know, if you go and watch the Dreaming video and see watch him drumming on there, he's absolutely incredible. So yeah, sad that he died. So that was £5. So yeah, it's a 45. It's a 12-inch 45. And I popped it out, had a look at it, and I noticed he saw me looking at it, and I saw a mark on it that I was concerned with. And he said, "Oh, do you want me to play that through?" And I thought, well, I said, "Oh, okay then, yeah, play it through." And I showed him the mark, and yeah, he played it through, and oh god, I mean, the sound quality was not good, I'll tell you. I mean, this record on my system is going to absolutely blow that out of the water. I can't wait to listen to it. Yeah, I mean, that is such a terrible system they've got in that shop. It's unbelievable. I mean, as for his record player, oh god, what is it? I mean, it looks like a sort of 80s, I mean, it looks like a sort of cheapish 80s turntable that in those days would have been right at the bottom of the range. I mean, it kind of had a wooden plinth and everything. It looked better than something like a Dual, but I don't know, it just sounded so awful. Look, next time I go in, I'll find out what record player he's got. I should have asked, but it just sounded so dreadful. I don't know, maybe the amp and the speakers were part of it, but it just sounded terrible. Yeah, so there we are. I haven't played it on my system yet, but it's in very good condition, and I didn't hear any clicks when he played it through. So I bought that for £5. I've since looked on eBay, and it seems that the going rate is like £10 to £15. I've seen some people selling it for £20, so I think I did okay on that. Really pleased to get that. I had a bit of a chat with him, and he was telling me, oh, it's thin vinyl, so be careful, because he was saying that the vinyl was heavier in the 60s, thicker, and you could tolerate a deeper a scratch would not sound, but on these thinner records they do, because the grooves are cut deeper on thick records. I don't know, you guys, some of you know better than I do. Is that true? I don't know. I've not particularly noticed that the 60s records, if you've got a scratch that looks like a scratch, that it's not going to sound because the grooves are so deep. To me, they've been, I've in fact had fewer problems with these 70s records, just because you know, they tend to be less played than 60s LPs. Okay, well that's it. That is it. Nothing more to say. 25 minutes, and I hope the sound quality is all right on this. And I know my video jumps about a bit. I can't seem to control it and stop it from doing that. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but anyway, I'll be back again soon, and thanks for all your support, subscriptions, etc. Bye for now.